I can tell you what they do care about. Themselves. But you knew this. Your job, at least in part, is to help make the experience of working with you a positive one, to help them succeed and to help them look good. Admittedly, not all clients are the same. So how do you know what's important to your particular clients? Here's a radical concept. Ask them. I asked one of them on your behalf. Meet Lawrence Geller. He's the owner of 17 luxury hotels and resorts in North America. What I love about Lawrence is that he will tell you exactly what's important to him. Now, he's not that keen on prima donnas. Now, if you meet Lawrence, would you be wise to talk about return on investment and how you can impact that for him? You bet. Even better than talking about it would be to show proof. Now, for your proof to be effective, it should have these three components. It should have value to your clients. It should be quantifiable in a way that clients find is important and meaningful to them. And it should be verifiable by a third party that your client finds credible. So how do you do that in an arena like client satisfaction, where we're all talking about how we exceed clients' expectations? To such a degree, it's probably become a cliche, a platitude. So here's an idea. Well, first of all, it's by definition of value to your clients. So how can we make it measurable and credible? There's a company called Design Facilitator that came up with a tool to measure what clients say they feel is important. And using this tool sent to your clients, they can take in 2 minutes, evaluate each of those factors on a 7-point scale, and give you that feedback. A company called PSMJ liked this tool so much that they made that the centerpiece of a client satisfaction award that they created for our industry. So it becomes something that now you can turn from platitude to proof. You can make a credible claim if you enter and win this competition that you do, in fact, exceed clients' expectations, and you can do so in a way that's valuable and credible and measurable. So it can be done with something as vague and esoteric as client satisfaction. Can it be done with design? Yes, it can, but it's a little more complicated. I think first it would be useful to look at what are the elements of good design as a precursor to what it is we're trying to measure. But back to this, I'll just share with you that Client Satisfaction Award, a win-win-win for everybody. It helps you build client loyalty. It gives you valuable feedback. It engages your staff. It enhances your credibility. And it's good for the sponsors. Here I am talking about them at a national conference. So back to the idea of measuring design using this example. Elements of good design go all the way back to the days of Vitruvius, who came up with commodity, firmness, and delight. I attempted to translate this into 3 terms that I can understand. Is it fit for its purpose? Is it built to last? And does it lift the spirit? And if indeed we can agree that these are things we would like to measure, here are a couple of tools that I'd like to share with you on how to do that, how to draw that correlation between design and the performance of the buildings that you're designing. The first is called Design Quality Indicator, or DQI, and the second, Evidence-Based Design. DQI was launched in the UK in 2002 as a tool for measuring the design quality of buildings. At its core is a 99-point questionnaire that's filled out in the form of a survey that measures all these variables. And it's been used successfully in the US to assess schools, hospitals, hotels, and civic buildings. One of the benefits of using DQI is that it gets everybody around the table at the beginning of a project to agree on priorities and objectives. It saves time and money and delays later on in the course of a project. One of the other benefits of DQI is that it can be used to assess existing buildings. This is how Hyatt Hotels used the tool. At 30 of their hotels across North America, they got the DQI tool filled out by 400 of their guests and 900 of their employees. And then they engaged some folks from Cornell University to help them analyze the data and create all kinds of statistical reports for them. In essence, here's what they found. There was a positive correlation between high DQI scores and high guest satisfaction at these hotels. High DQI scores and high revenue per available room that each of those high-scoring hotels was able to achieve. They also found that the low DQI scores was a great way to determine which hotels needed renovation, both in terms of the guest areas and in terms of back of house, with an eye towards increasing productivity and return on investment. The second tool I mentioned, evidence-based design. Here's the industry definition. It assumes that you know what it is you want to measure. And here again, I go back to my suggestion. Ask your clients at the outset of a project what's important to them. What is it that they will use to assess the success of the project? And there's a lot of great literature on what you can do with that, but you can also turn it into evidence-based marketing. And I'm defining that as the process of creating a valuable, measurable, and credible advantage for you and your clients. What's that look like in different building types? Greatest amount of research, greatest number of factors when it comes to the healthcare environment. As you know, it's often a matter of literally life and death, the kind of thing that you want to measure and show the impact that you as designers can have on the outcome, not only in terms of patients, but also staff, and of course, the financial situation. And a shout out to what's been done by Canon Design with the third teacher. There's a lot of stuff in schools. The most obvious one to measure is student performance, but there are a lot of other variables and factors as well where you can show a correlation between design and an outcome. A tip of the hat to DEGW, who's done a lot of research in the area of office design and the elusive productivity, coming up with a lot of studies of their own, and in this case, going beyond evidence design to evidence-based marketing and getting their work published in Harvard Business Review. Lots of great stuff to measure in hotels that owners, operators, and developers are interested in tracking. And here I'd like to delve a little deeper with you for a couple of minutes to share with you a case study of how, back in the days when I was director of marketing for WATG, attempted to show a correlation between design and a hotel's performance. I asked a lot of our clients, what are you interested in and how can we help? And what they told me again and again was what would be of value to us, which in turn would also be of value to you, is if you can show me and make an argument for a positive correlation between your design fee and our investment so that we can look at it as an investment and not as an expense. So, here was my challenge. there are a lot of factors that go into the success of a hotel. And I'm hoping, by the way, through this case study in hospitality, that you can draw the link to the building types that you know best. I figured if I was going to make a case for how what we did impacted the performance of the hotel, I had to start with the top line, revenue. Now, I'm not a research scientist, nor do I play one on TV, but I knew enough to know that I had to minimize the impact of the other variables. So to minimize the impact of location, I compared hotels in one geographic area that we designed to hotels in the same geographic area that others designed. Hotels in Maui to hotels in Maui, hotels in Central Florida, Southern California, Southern California. To minimize the impact that the management company had on the outcome of the project and its performance, I compared hotels in the luxury category to other hotels in the luxury category that were operated by the same 6 management companies. So we weren't comparing Ritz-Carltons, let's say, to Holiday Inns. And to minimize the impact that a given month or year could have on the performance of a hotel, I looked at a time frame that extended to a 7-year period, and later expanded that to a 20-year period. And lo and behold, using statistics from a credible source, Smith Travel Research, who tracks its data for thousands of hotels around the world on a daily basis, we're able to show that our hotels, as indicated by the red bars, outperform their competitive set by 3 different measures, this one being an average daily room rate. And they outperform the competitive set in every single year and in every single geographic market. The second metric is occupancy rate. This is a percentage of nights that there are heads in the beds. And the third is RevPAR, or revenue per available room, which is derived by multiplying occupancy rate times the average daily rate. This is probably the single most important statistic and metric that hoteliers track. So now we had proof that was of value, that was measurable, that was credible to clients, the impact of design on the top line. How about the bottom line? That was actually a little trickier because of this middle line, expenses. Those vary all over the map from one location to another, from one hotel to another. Debt expenses, taxes, utility rates, things like whether union or non-union labor. So it was difficult to compare apples to apples. So my solution here was to look at qualitative research and gather anecdotal evidence and case stories from the people who knew the properties the best, which were the general managers. So I went and talked to them. And I got what I needed in terms of their being able to tell me, yes, there is a correlation between design and our bottom line. And the guests are telling us so, and we're observing that. At resort hotels, at urban hotels, this GM in Beijing equating a beautiful design with a beautiful bottom line. Renovated hotels, great opportunity to compare not only before and after pictures, but before and after statistics. In this case, the GM of the Breakers Hotel in Palm Beach using the metrics of guest satisfaction and repeat business to correlate his improved profitability in the course of a multi-year renovation program. And don't forget the people who work at these properties. It's one thing to ask about guests' impressions, but the people who spend most time at the hotels are the employees. And if you look at a pie of the operating expenses of any given hotel, more than 50% of that is attributed to payroll-related costs. So if you can design a property that's operationally efficient, that attracts people who want to work there, that makes their environment a pleasant one, that makes their jobs more productive, that increases morale and reduces absenteeism and turnover, you've got a more profitable hotel. Now, bottom line benefits need not be purely financial. Here's a good example of evidence-based marketing from a company called Mass Design Group. It's a not-for-profit organization. And they're actually able to quantify how they add value in terms of impact on the community, in terms of jobs created. One other way you can add value is by helping your clients look good. Remember, that's one of the things that's important to them. And a good design can generate publicity. And if you're asking them what kind of exposure, what kind of publications or media would they like to be in, you can help them achieve that goal as well. That's a good segue to 3 tips that I'd like to leave you with. Consider this section free advice. The first is help your clients get clients. The Center for Health Design has published probably a gazillion articles in peer-reviewed journals, and they've done an amazing design of correlating the research about design with the performance of hospitals. This is one that impressed me the most, which appeared on Oprah's website and in her magazine. It's reaching the people that your clients want to reach. It's reaching the women who make decisions about what hospital to go to. And if you'd like any more evidence of the relationship between design and publicity and the bottom line, check this out. A conference on hotels, a hotel investment conference in Hong Kong, with a sold-out session, jam-packed, on how to get your hotel on Condé Nast Traveler magazine's list of the best, an investment conference. Next tip is to be first or to be different. Our research into this area made the front page of industry publications because it was the first, because we were breaking new ground. A different approach comes from Colin McCartan, who's an interior designer of hotels. And on his website, he posts actual guest comments about hotels he designed that are extracted from Yelp and TripAdvisor and shows a correlation between design and a positive guest experience. And my last bit of advice is to name it and claim it. You and your clients are speaking different languages. Theirs is the language of their business. Yours is the language of yours. You can be the bridge. You can make connections. Pick one from column A, one from column B, and invent a new term. Have some fun with this. Here are a couple of examples. You can make design relevant by talking not just about return on investment, but how about return on wow? How about revenue per available room, or RevPAR, becoming RevPAD, revenue per amazing design? So, by drawing the correlation between good design and improving your client's bottom line, you, in the process, are going to improve your own bottom line. If you're in business to drive your client's business, and you can prove how you do so, you both win. And if your proof is valuable, measurable, and credible, guess what? You are a superhero. Thank you very much.